What's up, guys? Last night, we finally got down to some cold temperatures. Now that means the bodies of water are starting to cool, the lakes are starting to get close to the point where they're gonna be able to freeze. Now it's probably still going to be a couple of weeks until we finally get those bodies of water to lock up and we get on early ice, but now is a great time to be preparing and getting all of your gear set up and figuring out what is the best setup to target those early ice fish. So on today's video, we're gonna go over my top 3 setups for chasing early ice panfish. Now, before I get started here, let me first start off by saying there are tons and tons of different options and combos out there, guys. You can find a combo that can fit any budget. So by no means, by showing you the rods and reels in this video, am I saying these are the ones that you have to use or you have to have these to catch fish. But I'm telling you what I use personally every single year and what helps me put big fish on the ice. Okay, so I just want to get that out of the way so you guys understand you don't have to have these, but they do work.
Guys, if you're here from TikTok, TikTok, go ahead and drop your username. Let me know. I want to see who's here.
Okay, first things first, let's talk about one of my personal favorite combos. This is the JT Rogue. This is the 32-inch model, and it is one of my absolute favorite rods to fish with. Let me tell you why. The JT Rogue is a hybrid blank. Now, what does hybrid blank mean? Well, a hybrid blank means that you have a fiberglass tip, and I'll kind of show you guys the action and let you understand that. You have a fiberglass tip, which means you have a very, very soft tip, okay? And this is what you would call maybe a noodle rod, okay? That's what most people refer to it as. But it's got a nice fiberglass tip, very easy to see any subtle bite, and then it comes into a very nice carbon backbone. So there's the action of that rod. You guys can see that. It's similar to what many people would know as a quick tip style rod, but it is a very, very good rod. And I've got this rod paired up with an ICX5 from PC Fun. You can see I've got that right there. One of my favorite features, boom, folding handle. Comes out of the case, goes back in the case, super easy. That folding handle is a critical part of this design. Even better, this folding handle is made of metal. It's not cheap, it's not gonna break. It works extremely well. So this is what I like to pair it with. One of my favorite ice reels I've ever used. Now, what do I use this setup for, right? This is one of my top 3 for panfish, so you gotta know what I use it for. Well, one of my favorites to use it for is going to be a Eurotackle Z-Viber. Hopefully you guys can get a good look at that right there, okay? This is actually the new Z-Viber Micro. And the reason I like using this rod for that is because that Z-Viber Micro loads up that tip just a little bit. I don't know if you guys can see, there's just a little bit of flex. So if I pick up on that Z-Viber, you see how that tip popped up? That's just the weight of the lure doing that, okay? Tip pops up. Now, I really love using this for crappies on an up bite, okay? And what I mean by an up bite is when a bluegill bites, it might look like this. Now, when a crappie bites, a lot of times it's gonna come up from the bottom and eat the bait, and it's gonna make your rod tip just stick up a little bit. Because of this soft tip, it's a great rod for doing that. It works extremely well. Now, another reason I like this combo is the ICX5 has an incredible drag system. It's very smooth in cold water and cold temperatures. So the drag is gonna keep those big crappies and big bluegills pinned. Now, there are some other options for lures for this combo, and I'll show you what those are right now. Some other lures that I'd like to use with the JT Rogue ICX5 from PC Fun combo are heavier tungsten jigs or a Castmaster spoon. Both of these baits right here in my hand do a great job of loading up that tip and showing you that up bite. So either big plastic with a big tungsten head or, an Acme Castmaster are both great at loading that tip and work very well for crappies and even for big bluegills. One thing you guys will want to pay attention to is the length of your rod. Generally, a longer rod is going to help you battle bigger fish, but a shorter rod allows you to get closer to the hole. So if you're in windy conditions, it can be very helpful. Also, if you're fishing in a shack a lot, a shorter rod can help you as well. So just think about your conditions, how you're gonna fish. Try to pick the rod by what you're gonna do the most. Okay guys, let's jump into another favorite of mine. This is going to be the JT Panhandler 30-inch model. Now, the JT Panhandler 30 is definitely in my top 3. I've been using this rod for 3 years now, and every year I fall in love more and more. This rod excels greatly when you want a little bit of a longer rod and you're chasing those big bluegills, big perch or big crappies. Now there are other lineups that are a little bit heavier, but I tend to go on the lighter side. So this is actually a light action rod. It's got a nitinol tapered spring bobber, which allows you great bite detection. And that little orange bead right there is awesome for sticking out against the snow and helping you see that bite. Again, this rod is different in terms of the action than last Rogue I showed you. The Rogue again has that fiberglass to carbon blank, whereas this JT Panhandler simply has a carbon blank. And you can see that parabolic bend all the way through the rod. Now, when it comes to pairing it up, I have paired up my JT Panhandler 30 with the brand new Viper X that PC Fun just released. This is the Viper X 500. Now, 500 size reels are perfect for using for ice fishing. They're nice, they're compact, they fit in cases well, and they work extremely well when you're doing ice fishing techniques. The EVA foam handle on this reel is awesome. The size, and again, that nice, smooth drag that we want. When you hook up with a big panfish, the last thing you want is your drag to fail you and end up losing that fish in the hole. Now, when it comes to lures and versatility, the 30-inch Panhandler is probably one of my favorites as well. You can see here, I've got a nice crappie plastic tied on. So it's just a 3mm head and a nice little minnow tail. Now, the versatility for this rod is phenomenal. It's very close to the JT Rogue in terms of what you're able to fish. Those small spoons, those heavy tungsten jigs, those Z-Vibers are all going to work very well on this. But again, here we have a carbon blank. It's a little bit of a different presentation, and it doesn't quite have that same loading feature that fiberglass tip does. So that's the difference between these two setups, although they do fish very similarly in terms of the baits that you will use. Last, but certainly not least. That saying is so cliche. So, last on the list is a rod that I love to use when the bite gets tough. Okay, you know those days when you're out on the ice and you just cannot seem to hook a fish. They are biting so lightly that you can barely see that bite. Well, that is where the 24-inch Panhandler paired with the new PC Fun ICXP comes into play. When you've got a bite like that, you're going to have a setup that's going to allow you to be able to detect the bite. And that is where this nice, super ultralight nitinol spring comes in, and the bite is so easily detected. I can tell you guys that this rod has saved my butt on so many occasions. When I had the 30-inch Panhandler in my hand, the fish were really finicky. They weren't biting very well. Then I decided, you know what? Let's just break it down. Let's go to an ultralight rod. Let's go short. Let's get tight to the hole. It's windy out, bad conditions. This rod will excel greatly in that situation. Again, it has that bite detector tip. As you can see, I've actually customized this one and put a black bead on it. Black bead also shows up very well against the ice. This ICXP is going to be phenomenal, guys. That inline style reel is going to allow you to not have as much line twist, which is going to make those finicky fish even more finicky as your lure is down there just spinning and spinning and spinning in circles. They don't like that. So this reel is going to help you eliminate some of that line twist and that jig spin under the water. So the JT 24-inch ultralight is definitely going to be something you're going to want to pick up because it's going to work extremely well in very tough conditions. And again, if it's not this brand or this series, just think about the actions, the lengths of these rods that I've been talking about, because those are the big things to pay attention to. You might need an ultralight versus a light. You might need a shorter rod versus a longer rod. So those are very critical things to pay attention to in this video. Now, let's talk a little bit about how this ICXP works. So this is a free fall style reel. So what does free fall mean? That means that this trigger right here will actually let the spool become free and allow your jig to drop simply by using the weight of the jig. Now let's talk a little bit about the trigger here in this ICXP. This is what creates a free fall, okay? So basically when I hit this trigger, that is going to allow, you can see that spool, every time I do it, it free spools, okay? So that's gonna allow your jig to drop down without anything stopping it or hindering it. And if you want to, you can also control the drop by stripping little by little. So it's a very, very cool reel. Great drag system in this reel, and it's very compact. If you guys can see, it's a very small reel. It's much smaller than other competitors you've seen on the market. So if you guys are wondering if you should pick one of these bad boys up, for the price, you are absolutely not going to beat it. There it is, guys, in a nutshell right here. My top 3 Panfish Ice combos. If you guys like this video, make sure to go down below, drop me a comment, tell me your favorite part of the video. Also, if you have any questions on any of these combos, feel free to go down in the comments and I'll make sure that I go through the comments and answer each of your questions on anything that we have here or anything ice related. So make sure you go down there, drop me some comments. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and we'll see you guys on the next one. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to smash that subscribe button. Head on over, check us out on Instagram, and hit us up on Facebook and Twitter. We'll see you on the water next time.